Once upon a time there was a shoemaker who became so poor, through no fault of his own, that he only had enough leather left to make one pair of shoes. As was his custom, before he went to bed, he cut out the leather and laid it on his workbench to finish in the morning. He lay down quietly in his bed, being of clear conscience, commended himself to God, and fell asleep. In the morning, after he had said his prayers, he was going to his bench to sit down and begin work, when he spotted the two shoes sitting on the bench quite finished. He took the shoes in his hands to observe them closer, and they were so neatly made that there was not a single bad stitch in them, just as if they were intended to be a masterpiece. Soon after, a buyer came in, and the shoes pleased him so well that he paid more for them than was customary, and with that money the shoemaker was able to purchase enough leather for 2 pairs of shoes. He cut them out at night. Next morning he was about to set to work with fresh courage, and there he found on his table 2 perfectly made pairs of shoes. Buyers quickly followed, and they gave him enough money that he was able to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes. The following morning he found 4 pairs of shoes made, and so it went on. Whatever he cut out in the evening was finished by the morning. Soon he became an honest, independent man again, and at last he became a wealthy man. Now it befell that one evening, not long before Christmas, as they were getting ready for bed, the man said to his wife, "What think you if we were to stay up tonight to see who it is that is lending us a helping hand?" The woman liked this idea very much, so they hid themselves in a corner of the room behind some clothes which were hanging there. They waited and watched. When it was midnight, 2 pretty little naked men came. They sat down at the shoemaker's table, and they began to stitch, sew, and hammer so skillfully that their little fingers flew. The shoemaker could not take his eyes off of them for astonishment. They did not stop till all the work was done and the shoes stood finished on the table, and then they ran quickly away. The next morning the woman said, "The little men have made us rich. We must do something to show how grateful we are. They run about so, and they have nothing on. They must be very cold. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will make them a pair of shirts, coats, and vests, and trousers, and knit them both a pair of stockings. You make them 2 little pairs of shoes." The man said, "This I shall be very glad to do." And one night, when everything was ready, they laid all their presents on the table instead of the cut-out leather, and they concealed themselves to see how the little men would behave. At midnight they came bounding in, and they wanted to get to work at once. But as they did not find any leather cut out, only the pretty little articles of clothing, they were at first astonished. Then they showed intense delight. They dressed themselves up with the greatest speed, putting on the pretty clothes and singing, "Now we are boys so fine to see, why should longer we cobblers be?" Then they danced and they skipped and they leapt over chairs and benches, and then they danced out of the doors. From that time on they came no more, but as long as the shoemaker lived, all went well with him, and all of his undertakings prospered.